I took a dare. And now I carry a 30-year-old secret in my bloodline. You know what I was dared to do? Kiss a stranger. One kiss. That was it. No one expected me to do it. Not the women I was drinking with. Not the man I kissed. And certainly not my husband back at home in our 2-bedroom house in Indiana. But I did it. I kissed him. His name was Shane. He was younger, bold, dangerous in that intoxicating way women whisper about but never dare pursue. And I did not stop at that kiss. I saw him again. I made excuses. I went back. Again and again. Until one day, I found myself in the bathroom, staring at a positive pregnancy test, with no one else to blame but myself. I was 30 years old, married, stable, predictable, but that kiss flipped the switch on everything. And what came after that? Well, that is the part one have never told a soul. Until now. Before I continue, I want to thank every single one of you who has subscribed to this channel. Your support means the world. To all our new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe, I appreciate you so much, and I honestly cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel and energy that keeps this channel alive and growing. Do not forget to like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know how this story made you feel. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Barbara. I am 60 now. But this story happened when I was 30, married to a man named Daniel. Daniel was not a bad man. He provided. He came home every night. But love, excitement, laughter, that had dried up years before. My girlfriends knew it. That was why we planned the night out. Just us women. Wine, music, laughter. We played games like we were college girls again. And then the dare came. Barbara, my friend Linda laughed. Go kiss that guy at the bar. The one in the black leather jacket. The one who keeps glancing over here. I could have refused. I could have laughed it off. But something inside me, it was restless. Maybe it was the wine. Or maybe it was the years of feeling invisible. I walked over and kissed him. He was startled. But then he smiled. He leaned in. That was not half bad, he said. Want to try again sometime? I laughed. Walked back to my table. Tried to forget it. But I did not forget it. The following week, I saw him again on purpose. I went back to the same bar. Alone. And there he was. Like he had been waiting. We talked. He was 28. Single. A mechanic. Rugged, confident. He called me beautiful in a way Daniel had not in years. He listened. He teased. He made me feel alive. The next few weeks were a blur of stolen time and shameful joy. I lied to Daniel. I created errands. I erased text messages. I did not sleep with Shane immediately, but the tension built every time we met. And when it finally happened, it felt like jumping off a cliff. No plan. No parachute. Weeks passed. Then I missed my period. At first, I thought it was stress. I told myself I was imagining it, but a small voice inside whispered the truth I did not want to hear. I locked the bathroom door one morning and took the test. Positive. I dropped to the floor. Cold tiles. Shaking hands. Daniel had a vasectomy 5 years earlier. There was no question whose child it was. And that was when my nightmare truly began. I sat on the bathroom floor for what felt like hours, frozen, nauseous, and terrified. That tiny pink plus sign might as well have been a wrecking ball crashing through the life I had spent years carefully building. I was 30 years old, married to a man who had trusted me for almost a decade. And now I was carrying another man's child. I did not tell Shane right away. I could not. I avoided his calls for days. I canceled our meetups. I stayed in bed pretending to be sick. Daniel thought I had the flu. He even brought me soup. The man I had betrayed stood at my bedside and stroked my forehead while I silently panicked, trying to think of what to do. But the guilt only got heavier with every passing day. I stared at Daniel one night as he read the newspaper, the light from the lamp casting a warm glow on his thinning hair. And I thought, what kind of woman does this to a good man? I considered abortion. I know that will upset some people. But I was desperate. Scared. And for a moment I thought ending it would erase the mistake. But I could not do it. Not because I was brave. Not because I was strong. But because I knew I would never be able to look at myself again. So I did what scared people do. I lied. I told Daniel I was pregnant. He blinked. His face went pale. He looked at me with confusion. But I had the procedure, Barbara, he said slowly. You remember that. I pretended to be shocked. I told him maybe it had failed. That it was rare but not impossible. That miracles happen. He looked at me, unsure. Quiet. Then he stood up and walked out to the porch. He stayed there for a long time. He did not bring it up again after that. But I could tell something inside him was unsettled. A few days later, Shane showed up outside the grocery store where I worked part-time. He was leaning against his truck like nothing had changed in the world. I told him everything. He went silent. Then he looked at me and said, I want to help. I will be there. Whatever you need. But that was not what I needed. I needed this never to have happened. I needed to undo the kiss, the lie, the test. But life does not hand you erasers. Instead, it hands you consequences. I tried to cut Shane off after that. For everyone's sake. But he started leaving notes on my windshield. He wanted to be involved. Then, one day, one of those notes was not on my windshield. It was on Daniel's nightstand. And it was open. Daniel never said a word about the note. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not even weeks later. But something in him changed. His warmth faded. His eyes watched me differently. Not with suspicion, worse, with distance. As if he was choosing not to know. The note Shane left was short, but sharp. Just a few words written in his careless handwriting. You do not have to do this alone. It is my child too. And there it was. My crime. My shame. Laid bare on my husband's nightstand. I waited for an explosion. For a suitcase by the door. For Daniel to demand the truth. But it never came. Instead, he buried it. And so did I. We moved forward like two strangers playing house. I pretended he still believed the child was his. He pretended he did not see the cracks in our marriage widening with every ultrasound photo I hung on the fridge. And when our son was born, I saw Shane in his eyes, in the curve of his chin, in the way he cried loud and wild. Daniel held him, kissed his forehead, but he never said the words, "He looks like me," because he did not. The years that followed were heavy, quiet. We raised the boy, Michael, together. Daniel never treated him poorly. If anything, he was a better father than I ever imagined. But the silence between Daniel and me grew louder. We stopped celebrating anniversaries. We stopped touching. We became co-parents under one roof, nothing more. I saw Shane once more. It was 5 years after the birth. He came into the grocery store while I was stocking shelves. He looked older, worn, tired. He asked if Michael was healthy. I nodded. Then he said something that stuck with me to this very day. You never lied to me, Barbara. You lied to him. And to yourself. Then he walked away. I never saw him again. Now, 30 years later, my son, Michael, is grown. A father himself. Recently, he came to me with a question I always feared. Mom, did Dad ever tell you why I do not look like him? My blood froze. My hands trembled. I looked into his eyes, so much like Shane's, and I saw the truth begging to be set free. But I smiled. I lied again. I told him he looked like my father, and I died a little more inside. There are some truths that cannot be buried forever. And I know, one day, they will rise. But for now, I live with the weight of my choice. one dare, one kiss, one lie, and a lifetime of silence. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it is not easy to hear, but it is real. And if there is anything you take from it, let it be this. Every action, no matter how small or playful, can carry consequences far beyond the moment. Now I want to hear from you. Would you have told the truth? Could you live with that kind of secret? Let me know in the comments. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Until next time, be careful what dares you take.